just computer science class. I'm the hacker man.
You sent me a message first, yeah?
By the way, if you're looking for the Ultra Kill video, it's on its way. I'm currently working on it, but yeah. It's the 24th of Feb, and a YouTuber I like to watch named Corso uploads a video on a game I had never heard of. I watched the first 2 minutes and went off and got into some Roblox R34. The next day, I was looking for games, I was kind of bored, and then I remember Forsaken. I joined, played the first round, fucking left because it was boring as shit. So with that, here's my review. Yes, it's been a whole last month. I joined back only because I didn't give the game a fair chance, and I saw a clip of some dude parrying the killer. So I was like, you know what, let's grind for 500 cash just to try a new survivor. So after a little bit of grinding, I got 500 cash and decided to buy Guest 1337. And after that, I was addicted. And just so you know, I have actually played the game, and by now I have over 2 days of playtime. The gameplay is not inspired by Dead by Daylight whatsoever. Essentially, if you're a survivor, you use your abilities to waste time or help other survivors waste time. And on the flip side, if you're a killer, then just kill them. Now this gameplay seems kinda boring, which it is. That's where the content comes into play, because each survivor has their own toolkit that honestly makes this much more enjoyable. And you'll be surprised at how soothing it is to just hear the generator clicks. The killers also have their own arsenal to track down survivors, and some abilities on the more violent side. The last thing I want to talk about for the gameplay is Last Man Standing. That is only good against Garsh Harpoon, because the theme is just heavenly. Anyway, Last Man Standing is when there's one survivor left. You fucking idiot. The time is set back to 1 minute and 14 seconds, and your goal as a survivor is to fucking survive. Survivors. Rather than just reviewing them, let's do a tier list, beginning with Noob. Noob is actually a very good survivor, except for the fact that when you just join the game and realize that Noob isn't exactly beginner friendly. Overall, the people who are good as Noob should maybe swap characters and experience something fun for once in their life, rather than injecting themselves with a week's worth of White Monster into the span of 1 minute. B+. Elliot is like the dream support, where everyone loves Elliot and how they can heal you, except for when it comes to actually playing the character. And when you throw the pizza and they just choose to ignore it. Like bro, it's right there, come on. Most half-decent killers will just target the Elliot user first, and even though you have a dash ability to get out of that situation, most of you guys aren't good enough to escape the killer, or it's just because the Sentinels decide to watch you die. S tier. Guest 1337. Definitely the best character, not glazing. I don't even man this guy, but he's just so good.
Wake up, get up there. Raise your
Perfect.
voice and dance like yours.
But being for real, Guest 1337 can be the best character to play. Also the worst, as if you mess up your block, you're gonna look like an idiot. If you mess up your punch, you're gonna look like an idiot. If you miss the charge, you're gonna look like an idiot. But if you land, then you become meme. That was one of the worst jokes of all time. But to be honest, Guest really is just a shining knight, so he gets an A-. Taff is our next survivor, who places traps everywhere and loves watching as the killer walks straight into the subspace trap mine, just for it to be easily counted by just turning your camera. Although I do enjoy playing Taff, a good killer can easily stop his traps and just choose to kill you first. B-. 007N7. First of all, what kind of name is that? And second of all, according to the lore, this thing is his kid. N7 is a pretty good character, but you can just buy a skin that makes his clones 50% more successful. It's actually so hard to see this skin in the dark, which is a bit annoying if you're playing a killer. But N7 is definitely my favourite survivor kit, just because of the amount of trickery you can cause. There's no greater feeling than watching you the killer sprint off after your clone. A+. Shadletsky is, in my opinion, the best character for beginners, because he takes little amount of skill, but can still be viable for his teammates. The sword slash can be a double-edged blade, as a killer can predict it, but that factor could also be used against them. Very overpowered kit, S tier. Builderman, our survivor that places sentries around the map and can heal people, only to be targeted once the killer gets shot with one bullet from your machine. That's really about it. A tier. Dusika. He's a boring ass character who can heal people and slow down the killer. No one really wants to talk about him. I don't want to talk about him. B tier. Chance, our little gambler. Although I do enjoy Chance and shooting killers from across the map, he does have some problems, like the coin flip. It takes quite some time to flip your coin for your abilities, and you will usually re-roll your stats for a better chance at living. And once you've done with that, you have 36 weakness, 0 generators completed, 2 missed bullets, and you died from your gun exploding. A minus. Two-time, who recently got a rework, and it was definitely for the better. This is probably the hardest survivor to use, because hitting that dagger is a little difficult, and is honestly only useful when it is a backstab. He's definitely a lot more useful than earlier, and his second life is actually deserving this time, so I'm going to assume he's in the right hands and give him an A tier. Killers. Once again, we're doing a tier list. Jason is the killer you're given at the start of your journey, and although he can be a little difficult to use, it doesn't really matter, because anything on the map can be reached with that hitbox. Jason is a very good killer and doesn't really lack any compartments except for the long range abilities. A+. Cool Kid is a little overpowered, except when you're up against survivors like Noob and N7, as all you need to be is undetected, and Cool Kid will have no clue where you are. Even with all that, his damage capability is kinda broken, with walk speed overdrive that can turn you into A-Train, or some shit killer flying across the map. No! A+. John Doe, a difficult killer, as rather than chasing, he uses traps and spikes to control the environment. That does mean you do kind of have to use your brain. I know, it's okay. A tier. 1x, 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 1x. 1x, 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 1x. What the fuck is that? Another long ass name, so we're just gonna call him 1x4. 1x4 is considered to be the weakest link, but he is also the easiest to use, and most people don't use him right anyway. Like, your abilities are extremely predictable. All the survivors have to do is look out for the audio cues or just look behind them while they're being chased. However, this is where cross-map sniping comes into play. Overall, A-. The good of this game is actually quite a lot, and I wanted to sort of dedicate this section to the things that might not be noticed, but are extremely important, just like the soundtrack. This game has one of the best soundtracks that actually activates neurons. There has been an obvious amount of effort towards the music, which is just awesome. Another thing I like is also the chases. The way the stamina works is made well, and how juking can actually be an important tool for stamina conserving, not just doing it to be flashy. Also, the generators, for some reason, doing these little puzzles is honestly interesting. I like seeing the patterns for each puzzle and how they lay over to one another. But with the good, also comes with the bad. There are some problems, to say the least, beginning with the most relevant one, content. When you play this game and unlock all the skins that you want, you're just kinda left there wanting more. And that is a good thing, but that means updates also have to be consistent. And after checking through the update schedule, I wouldn't say it's horrible, but it also isn't good. They said Nolly had been in development for around 4 to 5 months, which I know they obviously have a life outside developing, and they hope to update quicker, but it's just one of those things. Another problem is the new player experience. I understand where the devs are coming from by giving them characters like Jason and Noob to begin with, but these characters are hard to use unless you know what you're doing, which requires experience, something new players don't have. I suggest giving them a character that isn't going to be a pest to the killers, like having 5 Elliots run around spamming pizza non-stop. But I also think it's a fairly hard decision to make, as also giving them 007, you're just going to be dealing with 3,000 clones. But in terms of the killer side, killers like Cool Kid or 1x4 that are a lot better in the hands of new players. I know this section is big, but it's not to say there are a lot of negative attributes to the game. I just want to go in detail about it. The Ugly. The reason why I call this The Ugly is because it's a mix that can be seen through both perspectives. To begin, the survivor side of problem. There are plenty more survivors than there are killers, which is understandable considering you will be playing survivor a lot more often than the killer. But I also enjoy going against different types of killers as it causes being able to adapt. It's basically breaking up that consistent gameplay loop. Speaking of gameplay loop, let's talk about the maps. There are definitely good maps and bad maps. I won't list them out, but here is what a good map should have. It should be compact, there should be ways to treat the killer, but there should also be places where the killer can sort of trap you. A good example for this is the Cool Kid Carnival. There's great variety with map elevation and overall design in general. This greatness is then lost with maps like Yorick's Resting Place. This map is horrible to play on when you're a killer, but there is one feature about this map that is actually really good, and that is the hill. This can allow sentinels to buy that extra bit of time by knocking them off the cliff, but also risking it with that slowed speed when you hit the ground. If there is anything I want the devs to think about the most, and I hope a dev is actually watching this, because we need more achievement. I'm not talking about do some stupid shit for a badge, I'm talking about do some stupid shit for a skin. I don't care whether these challenges are difficult or not, we just need more of it. Completing some of these challenges just adds so much to do with the gameplay loop and allows players to play differently. This might sound like a lot, but I really do hope the devs can at least consider some of this, because I do think it's important for the game and the players as well. One more thing, I do think every game should have this on Roblox at least, and that's being able to pick your server with like the ping time, because Roblox can't do their own job. I think having a server list could really help, and if you just display the list, like how Heroes Battlegrounds does it, I think it's really good. Okay, not much for the conclusion, because that was basically what I just wanted to talk about. You might notice some footage was recorded before the Easter update, which is true because I just wanted to get a head start on editing the video. But overall, Forsaken is a pretty good game, and that's coming from a guy who does not like Dead by Daylight. So with that, I'll see you later.